Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kamau and this is round 22 of the game This or That. I had absolutely no idea that I'd get to round 22, but here we are and I am totally enjoying this game. I'm enjoying telling you about myself and I'd love for you to comment and tell me about yourself. So I'm going to run down the list of 12 pairs of words and I'm going to tell you which ones I prefer. It's a pretty simple game. I tell you which ones I prefer, you tell me which ones you prefer. And we're really seeing if we're compatible, if we would really like each other in real life, right? So let's go. Number one, could you survive on the street? You know, like if something happens and you become homeless for whatever reason, you know, could you survive on the street? Well, I definitely would survive on the street. I'm a thug, okay? I can roll with the gangsters. I'm a thug and I've got survival instincts and I've got street smarts, I think. I think I could, for real. I think I could survive. I could weather the elements for sure. I'm strong in that sense too. I probably find some thug to link with, you know, to teach me the ropes. But yeah, I think I could survive on the streets. I really think I could survive on the streets. I remember about 2 years ago, I had to be in halfway tree very early. I think I was taking my daughter to get the bus for to go. She was going to on the South Coast bus, right? So I had to be in halfway tree after 5 or 6 in the morning. And when I got there, you know, at that hour of the day, hardly any commuters. So really, it's the street sweepers and the people who live on the streets are there. And I remember right at the bus stop, there was this woman. There were two of them sleeping on cardboard boxes. They had torn the cardboard to spread it and they were sleeping. Well, one was asleep, but this woman, she looked like maybe in her mid-30s or probably a little older, and she was just there. She was lying down on the cardboard and totally at home. It really struck me. She was totally at home on the cardboard, the cars, the dirt, and this is a dirty street, right? The middle of halfway tree at a section that is really dirty, because I think it was after a big holiday and there were lots of stuff still on the streets where people were celebrating. I don't remember if it was New Year's or something like that. And she was just there. This is her home. She just chilling. And she couldn't care less if you want to look at her and frown or make up your face or whatever. She couldn't care less about you. It's like she had just accepted that this is home. Me not watch no face. Me just go through. And if you don't like it, don't look at me. So I think I would have that attitude if I were on the street. I think that's how I would roll on the street. So definitely yes, I would survive. Number two, would you take a relative to court? I would, I would prefer, as a relative, I would prefer if we could have some resolution, some private resolution outside of the court. But if it comes to the point where litigation is the only way to go, I definitely would. Because you see, you have some family tend to take you for granted, and things that they wouldn't do to strangers, they want to do to you, and they wouldn't want you to return that treatment. So they will run up your bills. They will borrow your money and don't want to pay you back. They don't feel like it's their duty to pay you back. Is a if I can do it thing. If me get it, me give you back, that kind of thing. They will rent your property and wreck your property, and you must just take it like that because you're a family. So yes, some of them do have that attitude, and you might have to use them as an example, or just to prove a point to them, say, no, I'm not going to take this treatment just because we are so-called blood. That doesn't mean you get away with this. So push come to shove, yes, I would take a family member to court, depending on what it is, because they can really take you for granted, and some things you can't just quit it off. You can't just call it a loss. So I definitely would. Number 3, do you like soul food or not? I'm going with no. Most soul food really are, well, in my opinion, most soul food is unhealthy. It will lead to diabetes, it will lead to cancer, it will lead to heart disease, it will lead to obesity. Because you see, what we call soul food, even though we have become endeared to it because that's what we grew up on, that's what grandma made, that's what she taught her daughters to make, and when we gather every year, that's what we make because it has become tradition. But remember, this really, in the West, this was a direct result of slavery, right? Because it's the scraps that were thrown to our ancestors, and they, as we always do, turn it into something. We took that scraps, that dregs, and we made the best of it. So the gut that was discarded, we forced the shit out of it, squeeze the shit out of it, and wash it and wash it and wash it, and season it and cook it and call it chitlins, right? Or in Jamaica we call it tribe. But would you want that to eat as a normal, if you had a choice? But then we had no choice, that's what we were thrown. Our ancestors were thrown. And you know how we do, we turn the bad, we try and turn it and twist it to make it good. But now that you have a choice, you shouldn't be eating those things. That's not food. Well, in my opinion, it's not food. It's not healthy food. And I think we should make better choices, because you will see in the black community all these diseases, and we tend to say, oh, it runs in the family. It doesn't run in the family. The bad eating runs in the family, and so we pass these customs on. So the soul food thing, the heavy grease, the loaded with sugar, it's not my thing. And as endearing as it is, as nostalgic as it makes you, all those sentiments, I understand those sentiments, but we have to be able to sever those things and make some new traditions and get some new sentiments attached to some healthier ways of living. So I'm not going with the soul food at all. Number 4, is there a fixed age for your adult children to leave your house? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. My adult children can stay at my house for as long as they want. The only thing though is, once you start earning, it's naturally expected you would contribute if you're using the utilities in the house, using the space. And I think this is actually one of the solutions to the issues that we have in the black community, where we don't own real estate, we don't own businesses. Because everybody feels that they get to a certain age, they want to branch off on their own, to go pay rent to somebody else. Whereas if you look what happens in other groups, they have group economics. They pool their resources together. They stay in the family home, share the utilities. So you split the bills. There is child care because grandma is there and grandma is getting something to do in return for security and so on. It's not that you're using her, because I made a video about that in particular, using grandma to raise your children. So it's not like I'm saying she's there and that's what she's for. No, but our African traditions, the grandparents had a role, and that's one of their roles, to impart knowledge, to be there for the grandchildren, just being there just so that you don't have to pay nursery fees, but grandma would be benefiting from other things as well. It's not like you're dumping the children on her at her house and then you go on about your business. That's a totally different thing. I'm not for that at all. So what I'm saying, we can cut back on certain bills by pooling our resources, right? So why would, I mean, once we have the space, because if there's no space, then you know, your adult children want their privacy, they might be starting their own family. So if they decide to move out, it's not that that would be an issue either. But once there's a space and everybody can contribute and share, then forever, for as long as possible. Number 5, would you start a band? Definitely would start a band. And I'd be the lead singer, okay? I'm the lead singer. I love to sing. I've always loved to sing, always loved music. My favorite singer is Joan Armatrading. I love her 70s stuff, not so much the modern songs that she does, but she's my girl still. Joan is my girl. I love Randy Crawford. Growing up, I was more into the soul 70s groups, you know, the Stylistics, Shylights, Temptation, Delphonics. I could reel them out for you, but yeah, so I love music and I love to sing. So I would start a band. Definitely would start a band. I can't play any instruments, so I would be the lead singer. So if you have the notion of starting a band, just hit me up. If you need a lead singer, hit me up in the comments. I'm available. Okay. Number 6. Would you marry a pauper? Would I marry a pauper? Well, yes and no. If he's a pauper and he's accepting this pauperness as his fate, no, I'm not marrying a pauper. Like, if he has a pauper mentality, I'm not marrying him. If he has fallen on bad times but he has the mindset of a king still, he has that empire building mindset, for sure, because he's not going to stay a pauper for long. You stick with me, you're not going to be a pauper for long, okay? Because I'm for empire building and we're working together as a team. But you have to have that mindset to begin with. I'm not going to try and convince you. So you have to come with that, and then we're good to go, right? We're going working together. For me, you know, it's not so much where you're coming from or even where you are right now. It's where you're headed. That's the important thing for me. Where's your mindset? What are your goals? What's your vision? Stick with me and we'll go in places. So once you're on board, you know, we're good to go. It doesn't matter if you have been a pauper for 30 years or you're a pauper now, but do you have the empire mindset? That's the difference. Number 7, if you were renting, would you share kitchen and bathroom? That's a definite no, not sharing kitchen and bathroom. And I know many persons share that sentiment, because like if friends come to me to say, you know, do you know of anywhere renting? One of the first things they're going to say, I'm not sharing kitchen or bathroom. And, you know, it's really inconvenient when you have to share those facilities. Well, it doesn't matter the size. The mere fact that somebody else is using the kitchen, your food is there. Because I remember my friend saying to me the other day, he wanted me to help him find somewhere to live, and he was saying, imagine you have your food in the fridge and you don't know if this person is tampering with your food. It's not that you're paranoid, but people tamper with stuff. People tamper with other people's food in restaurants. They tamper with your food. So you imagine you're living with this person and they have a grouse with you that you might not even be aware of, and they tamper with your food. So he was saying, no, I can't share. And I remember he actually was about to get somewhere, and the deal breaker was he had to share kitchen. Bathroom is another thing. That's your personal, that's where you clean yourself, that's where you deal with your private stuff. I mean, to share bathroom, no, I don't think I would do that. I don't cook a lot, but I'm always in the kitchen juicing. I'll juice like 3 times a day. I need that space to do my stuff. You know, to blend up my juice, to have my fruits there and know that nobody is messing with it. So. Number 8, would you date a meat eater? Well, I'm a vegetarian. I certainly have dated meat eaters, and it's not really an issue. I mean, you'd want them to change, and I think the meat eaters that I've dated, for the most part, they were conscious. It's like they are working towards cutting back on the meat or dropping the meat altogether. There was this guy though who he had no intention whatsoever of stop eating meat, right? And he used to tease me like whenever he would kiss me and he would say, I just ate pork, right? I just had some pork, or I just had some whatever. You just kiss somebody who just had some pork. So he would tease me on that. But it's not an issue really. It's just that I would prefer, because in my opinion it's not healthy. So I would want that person to be at least heading in that direction. Number 9, are you affectionate in public? Well, I'm affectionate everywhere. I'm just an affectionate person. On the streets, at home, everywhere. I'm very affectionate. So yes, I am. But I've noticed, I was saying this to my friend on the weekend. I was saying, when black men in particular, when black men are dating outside of their race, how affectionate they are towards a woman on the street. But when they're with their own black women, it's like, don't even, and this is not all black men, right? But I would say most. They're not really openly affectionate on the road. So it's like they would be saying, what's wrong with you? Why you want to be holding me up? Why you want to? That's how they would respond to a black woman. But when they're walking with a white woman or whatever other race, they are very affectionate, hugging and holding hands, and it's like you're saying, who is that? Is that the same dude who, when I was with him, I couldn't even brush against him? Why? Brothers, tell me why are you like this? You don't want a black woman to be affectionate with you in public, but when you're dating another race, you are openly affectionate. You need to school me and tell me why that is the case. Number 10, would you try caviar? Now, caviar is fish eggs, right? It's the roe of the sturgeon fish, and they treat it, they salt it and cure it, right? So it's very expensive, and typically, champagne and caviar is something people drop when they're to indicate that you have arrived. So when you can bust a buckle of moet, as they call it, or have caviar, it means you have arrived. Now for me, if that is what is going to indicate my arrival, I'm never going to arrive, because I'm not eating caviar. I couldn't care less how it tastes or what it symbolizes. I'm not eating it. Right, so that's a no for me. I will never arrive if that's the arrival. Number 11, would you disappear and start life over in a new place? Disappear as in people think you're dead, or they just can't find you, but you deliberately vanished to go start a new life. I don't think I would do that, because I have children, I have family, I have ties, I have responsibilities. I wouldn't do that. It's not like I haven't done anything that I would have to run away from. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I have not done anything that I would need to go hide. Let other people go and hide and leave me here. Let other people go start a new life. I'll stay. For those who know me, my main mantra is, if you are where it's at, stay right there. If you know me, you know that much about me. If you are where it's at, stay right there. So I am where it's at. I have done nothing to run away from my place. So I'm staying here. Other people can go start a new life. I'm staying put right here. Last question. Would you have an abortion? Okay, so we know this is a touchy one. Would you have an abortion? Well, typically I don't. Well, how do I say this now? I believe in, I'm pro-choice and I'm also pro-life. It's my game, so I can make up the rules. I get to say both, right? But the only way so basically I'm saying, for other women, it's up to you. It's your body, you decide. I'm not gonna judge you, chastise you in any way. You decide. But for me, it's not something I would do. The only way I would do it is if I'm convinced that the baby has some genetic defect that would make their life miserable. I'm not for bringing a child into the world who's going to suffer forever. For the entire lifespan is suffering. I'm not for that. If I am made aware that my baby is going to be born with some kind of defect that's going to make his or her life miserable, I will abort. I definitely would. And I wouldn't feel any guilt, any remorse, because nature does that. Nature, if the organism is not viable, nature aborts it. That's what we see happening in nature all the time. If the organism is not viable, it is aborted. And that's life. And we have to really be realistic and practical sometimes. Why would you bring a child who's going to be can't help itself, can't make any sense of the world? That is cruelty for me. That for me is cruelty, right? So for that reason, I would terminate a pregnancy for that reason. But typically speaking, just getting pregnant because you weren't ready, no. If I'm having sex, I'm aware that I might become pregnant, whether I'm using a device or not. So I have that at the back of my head. So if it happens, I'm not going to say, well, abort the child just for that sake. No, I'm not for that either. So let me run down the list. Could you survive on the streets? Are you a thug like me? Number 2, would you take a relative to court? Do you like soul food or not? Is there a fixed age for your adult children to leave your house? You know, you start packing by the time when you see them approaching a certain age, you start packing their little stuff and giving them hints. Would you start a band? Would you marry a pauper? If you were renting, would you share a kitchen and bathroom? Would you date a meat eater? Are you affectionate in public? Would you try caviar? Would you disappear and start a new life somewhere else and everybody thinks you're dead or missing? Would you have an abortion? So let me know your views, your thoughts, your ideas, and what you think of my thoughts. Look out for part 23, which you know is on its way, simmering, soon done. Take care.